Sharon Stone. One of the iconic actresses of the 90s. The rise of her career was not as rapid as that of many other actors. And Stone spent quite a long period of it on the fourth or fifth plane. And it was one of the best parts of her career. Critics did not know about her existence, and therefore, we did not receive information about what a mediocre actress she was. Someone is clearly living in ignorance to this day. Due to the fact that she sometimes caught the eye of critics in the 80s, her career had already experienced several ups and downs. After such meetings with critics, her films failed, and she again fell back to the fifth plan, starting with a clean slate. In general, today I would like to dwell on the ups and downs of the actress, who in the 90s became a superstar. Stone made her debut in Woody Allen's film Star Memories in 1980. The beginning of her career could have been good, but no one noticed the actress there, except Wes Craven. Although Craven is considered a cult director, then, before the film made him so, there were still 3 years left. At the moment when Stone fell into his hands, there was no question of any cult yet. So the film is a deadly blessing. Although it performed well at the box office for its modest budget, critics completely demolished it. A large number of actresses in the film saved Sharon. Absolutely everyone got it. This was the first work of the actress, which drew the attention of Golden Raspberry. In those years, she had just appeared and had already marked the film with Sharon Stone with her nominations. After filming in this tape, things did not go well for Sharon, and she went to Conquer Television, flashing in various series and TV movies on the third or fifth plan. Somewhere here, Brian De Palma did not take her to the female lead in the movie Scarface. He liked Michelle Pfeiffer better. And then there was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, though not at Sharon Stone, but at Kate Capshaw. At the auditions, it was Stone who was given the main female role. It was believed that she already had it in her pocket. But on the last day, Kate Capshaw came to the audition. What she did there is unknown. But the director of the Temple of Fate, Steven Spielberg, immediately married her. Well, Stone again went to get by with small roles. In 1985 year, she was pulled out by the Cannon Group Film Studio. The rise of the career of Francois, who also started with the films of this studio, Sharon could not repeat. An attempt to do this was the film King Solomon's Mines with Richard Chamberlain in the title role. For a small studio, it was a film with a very impressive budget of $12 million. The films of the famous Belgian, shot at the same studio, cost only $1.5 to $2 million. And Chuck Norris, who also worked with Cannon, cost $4 to $6 million. That is, The Mines of King Solomon. It was such a blockbuster for the studio. And he performed well at the box office. In the United States, the picture took the mark of 14 million box office receipts. Plus, Germany and France brought 2 or 3 million to the piggy bank. However, the film was heavily criticized. It was simply leveled to the ground. There were also several nominations for the Golden Raspberry. However, Stone was not noticed again. Since the opinion of critics is important only when films do not pay off, the Cannon Group Studio, which apparently made a profit, a year later, issued the second part of the adventure film, called Alan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold. This film is already less well known, although it cost $13 million. All because it failed miserably at the box office. And the saddest thing for Sharon is that in this tape, the critics brought down their anger on her. For The Lost City of Gold, she received her first nomination for the Golden Raspberry. The failures of the critique have thrown the actress' career back a lot. Stone again began acting in films on the third or fifth plan, constantly receiving refusals at various auditions. By the way, she was rejected by Michael Douglas on the film Fatal Attraction in 1987 year. Glenn Close was later signed in her place. But here it seemed to be about the fact that she was too young for the role. Fatal Attraction, with a budget of $14 million, collected $320 million at the worldwide box office. Adjusted for inflation these days, it would be a movie with a budget of $30 million. And fees in the region of $750 million. All these Transformers and Pirates of the Caribbean died of envy. Although it is certainly impossible to compare so roughly. Instead of a Fatal Attraction, Stone was taken to the 4th Police Academy, which, relative to the previous parts, sank very much at the box office. And it was on the 4th film that Golden Raspberry reacted to the Police Academy for the first time. and Steve Guttenberg promptly left the franchise. It was Stone who finally got knocked down. She signed up for any role. This is where you surfaced one box office successful film for an actress. And it became an action movie above the law, starring Steven Seagal, who in those years easily fit into the screen. Above the Law was Steven's debut. In this film, Steven worked in exactly the same way as Francois once did. He sat with the script, looked for filming locations, spent the night in the editing room, and, together with director Andrew Davis, selected all the actors. He also took Sharon Stone. The actress herself says that filming was a nightmare for her, and she understood that her role was just a set for Steven Seagal. She didn't like the actor very much and often openly infuriated him. But at that time, she said, she learned a lot from him. As Stone said, she had never seen such confidence in her abilities from anyone else until those years. If Seagal became a star overnight after this tape, then Sharon could not boast of this. She spent the late 90s in passing failed films, some of which were released immediately on video. One of them is Blood and Sand. The actress, even buying it on a videotape, broke it with a hammer. Not imagining how she managed to star in such a terrible movie. Well, then it happened to remember everything. The script of which, according to Stone, she read 30 times and still could not understand anything. Although the information that Stone has one of the highest IQs among actors is widely replicated. There is a story about auditions for this film. This audition took place in a hotel room of one of the hotels, and there were only Stone, Verhoeven, and Arnold Schwarzenegger on it. Since the director of the film is Paul Verhoeven, it probably makes no sense to talk about the scene that Verhoeven wanted to see at the audition. When Stone and Arnold tried to do something in bed, Verhoeven asked the actress to become much more aggressive. After something, she attacked Arnold with her fists. While Schwarzenegger was trying to fend off Stone, Verhoeven, who was enthusiastically watching from the sidelines, said that they had found what they needed. According to many members of the crew of the film Remember Everything, Arnold was afraid of Stone throughout the filming process. After each of their meetings in the frame, he had new abrasions. Arnie himself said in an interview that he had not had so many bruises and abrasions on the set in his entire career before this film. Stone claims that Remembering Everything was the first film after which they went to recognize her on the street. The advertising campaign for the film included Sharon Stone on the pages of Playboy. The issue with her is considered one of the most successful in the entire history of the publication. At the box office, Recall Everything with a budget of $65 million, collected $261 million. Stone began to receive many invitations from Hollywood studios. And although all the other films of the actress were not in great demand, she was finally able to afford to buy a house. In 1992, one landmark film hit the big screens. Basic Instinct is probably the most outspoken thriller in the history of Hollywood, which not only got into cinemas with not the toughest rating, but also made a great box office at the box office. However, the film moved very hard to the screens. All actors, actresses, and Hollywood studios shied away from the project. Only Michael Douglas was not afraid of the project, who took on the production functions and dragged the project through the production hell. Joining the project, Douglas began to send out offers to dozens of famous actresses. Almost everyone refused immediately after reading the script. Only Demi Moore and Michelle Pfeiffer showed any interest. Douglas believed that such a film would work only if there were two big stars in the main roles. That was the problem. It was not difficult to find an unknown actress ready for candid bed scenes. Another reason why Michael Douglas needed an equivalent star in the film was the fear of failure. Douglas believed that in the event of a box office fiasco and attacks on the film from critics and viewers, the star actors would be able to share the career damage. If there is only one star in the film, then she will have to take all the negativity on herself. That's why the first-time director Paul Verhoeven proposed Sharon Stone. Douglas refused. But time passed, and it was not possible to agree with anyone. At first, Michelle Pfeiffer refused the role, having failed to agree on the use of an understudy in the film. And after that, Demi Moore also left. It is believed that Demi Moore refused, not so much because of the frankness of the Basic Instinct, but because of the confidence that the tape would fail miserably, and this would damage her career that was gaining momentum. The film almost went on the shelf. But Paul Verhoeven went back to Douglas with an offer to meet Sharon Stone. Michael Douglas had to look, remember everything and make sure that the actress very well and quickly passes from the state of a poor lamb to a ruthless bitch. Realizing that the film might simply not take place, Douglas decided to take a chance. Stone admitted that she was wildly uncomfortable being around Michael Douglas. For this reason, she almost refused the film. After the film was released and became a hit for hire, Sharon Stone said that it was her discomfort that created some tension in the scenes between the actors, and this benefited the film. That is, if Arnold was afraid of Stone in everything, then Stone was already afraid of Michael Douglas in The Main Instinct. Douglas, by the way, refused to put the name of Sharon Stone in the credits next to his name. For this, he was criticized by many Hollywood stars after the release of the film. But Michael decided that since most of the risks were on his shoulders, only his name would appear in the credits before the title of the film. The rating commission was outraged by the material that was sent to it for verification, and refused to give the film an adult rating. Expecting a similar outcome, Paul Verhoeven shot many bed scenes from 3 different angles, using different plans. When the film returned with a demand to cut or shorten explicit episodes, he had a lot of options to fix everything, without resorting to deleting the entire episode. By the way, the rating commission missed that very episode. There are many rumors surrounding his appearance, most of which are spread by Stone herself. Sometimes in interviews, she said that she invented the episode herself. Sometimes she accused Paul Verhoeven of not warning her. And sometimes Verhoeven even turned out to be a villain, threatening to force her to take off her panties. The director himself usually reacts to this with curses, calling it complete nonsense. He claims that no woman in a miniskirt, seeing a camera pointed at herself, will ever make such movements if she does not want to. About the fact that she was forced to do it, he usually does not comment, hinting that the scene was filmed at the very end. And to force him to do it, they had no leverage. Once in theaters on the 22nd of March, 1992, Basic Instinct became a rental hit, collecting $352 million in cinemas around the world with a budget of $49. Michael Douglas' career didn't suffer, but Sharon Stone instantly became a superstar. Money began to be thrown at the actress from all sides. And naturally, the largest sums were offered for erotic films. Such a tape was a sliver that hit the screens in 1993 year. For her role in this film, Stone received $2.5 million, while for Basic Instinct, $500,000. At the production stage, the chip became very problematic. Some of these problems were organized by Sharon Stone. The character of the actress has always been not the most accommodating, and the star status, as it often happens, removed all restrictions. Director Philip Noyes claims that Sharon Stone and William Baldwin could not stand each other, and demanded that he shoot them separately from each other whenever possible. For example, during the kissing scene, Sharon Stone bit William Baldwin's tongue so hard that he could not speak properly for several days. It is because of this that he is excessively silent in some scenes. Paul Verhoeven would later say that Stone needed an actor in the frame whom she respected. If there is such an actor, then she looks great and gives herself completely to filming. And if William Baldwin is in the frame with her, then what kind of return from Stone can we talk about? It is because of this that Verhoeven will later refuse to put the second Basic Instinct. According to the director, he was not against it, but he demanded a big star as a couple to Stone. However, the studio insisted that Stone should be the only big star, and the film should be built around her. With this, the director broke off all negotiations. Well, with a sliver, the dislike of critics returned to Stone. The film received devastating reviews and 7 nominations for the Golden Raspberry. Sharon Stone was also noted. But the film did not become an unambiguous failure at the box office. With a budget of $40 million, the film grossed $116 million. But Stone could not save another film of 1993. Crossroads, in which Stone starred with Richard Gere, completely failed. And for participating in this picture, the actress has already received her Golden Raspberry. Noticing something was wrong, Sharon Stone began to refuse all the melodramas in which she was offered to act, and agreed to shoot in the action movie Specialist, for which she received $5 million. Here, as they say, they managed to break the bank. After all, there was also Sylvester Stallone in the film. Critics were delighted, and as a result, the tape will receive only 5% of positive reviews from them. Naturally, Stone and Stallone received the Golden Raspberry Anti-Award for the worst screen couple. At the box office, however, the specialist performed well, although with two such stars in the main roles, more was expected of him. With a budget of $45 million, the tape reached the $170 million box office. 1995 was supposed to be a turning point for Stone. Martin Scorsese's Casino movie hit the big screens this year. For her role in Casino, Stone received an Oscar nomination and earned a Golden Globe. But like many of Martin's works, Casinos were all carried on their hands. But it performed very mediocre in cinemas. With a budget of $52 million, the fees amounted to only $116 million. In the same year, the actress also failed with the Western Fast and Dead. In this tape, Stone was a producer and influenced many moments. It was she who chose Sam Raimi to direct. Stone claims that she did it because of her great love for the film The Sinister Dead 3, Army of Darkness. She also really wanted to see Leonardo DiCaprio in the film. The budget of the picture was planned out and could not afford Leo's fee. So Stone paid the required amount out of her own pocket. It was $150,000. By the way, A Kiss with Russell Crowe Stone calls his favorite kiss in his career. A Kiss with Leonardo DiCaprio, on the contrary, considers one of the worst, comparing it with a kiss of his own hand. Crowe's film was also dragged by Stone. The studio was against his candidacy because of the actor's low fame for the American audience. The Fast and the Dead was Crowe's first American film. At the box office, the film, which cost $32 million, was able to collect only $18 million. For a while, the actress still received large royalties for her roles, but all her films failed. Even when she got into big-budget fiction with a bunch of other actors, it didn't save her. In the early noughties, the actress' career was rapidly declining. Although she received another Golden Globe nomination for the film Muse, it did not help her career in any way. After all, for other films she was subjected to the strongest criticism and drowned in golden raspberries. In the 2005 year, she received several nominations for the Golden Raspberry for Catwoman. And in 2006 came the turn of the second Basic Instinct. It is believed that the film was released only because Stone received a fee of $13 million, regardless of whether the film takes place or not. Plus, the development of the film went on for almost 10 years. During this time, the client has written a dozen scripts. 24 directors and actors were assigned to him. And money went to all of this. Basic Instinct 2 could have been a movie with a budget of $30 to $35 million, which was never shot. The final film, which hit theaters, cost $70 million, although only half was on the screen. Critics were given a holiday again. And at the box office, the tape was waiting for a failure. The second Basic Instinct collected only $38 million. Stone received another Golden Raspberry for her participation in it. Almost immediately after the second Instinct, Stone left for the video. Sometimes she really gets out of there and stars in big hits like Love in the Big City. But most of the actress' works do not stand up to any criticism. She even tried to repeat the success of The Combat Pensioner with A Picture of Moo, but got another failure. However, the actress in her 60s remains the face of several big brands, so she clearly does not need money. Plus, no flashes in the rating series. Critics seem to have already left her behind. And now pronouncing her name, there is no need to clarify that she is a very bad actress. In general, although the stellar period of the actress' career has only 10 years, during this time, she managed to become a sex symbol. And a superstar. Most people can only dream about this. Thank you for your attention, and stay in touch.